All right. How to figure out what to do with your life. No big deal. It's just like your life, and you only get one chance. So who knows how we'll spend it? But okay. You're lost and you don't know what to do. Good news for you is I was there. I fully had a quarter life crisis. I was doing private equity. I was super unfulfilled, super unhappy. And I was just like, I can't, this isn't where I thought I was going to be. And so I don't know what to do. And I remember I called my dad and I asked him, I'm like, hey, what do you think I should do? And he was just like, look, it's your life. You're 25, you're a big boy, and it's a big open ocean, big world out there, and you can figure out whatever it is that you want to do. You're talented, you're smart, you're capable, you know the right people, so you got to go figure it out. And what I realized was it's pretty unique because everything up until our lives to this point, there was a playbook to follow. Even going back to like middle school and elementary school and high school, played sports, you did extracurricular activities, got the best GPA you could so that you could get into the best college you could. On campus, try to get good grades, get involved, really start to think about what you want to do with your career. Junior year, you start going to the career fairs, whatever, and networking, and you get an internship, and boom, there's your job. Do that job for a couple years, get another one. Okay, now what? Like, this is your career? Is that the direction that you want it to go in? And it's that now what question that's really challenging because we all are out in the open ocean and we can do whatever it is that we want. And it's up to us to figure out what it is that we want to do. It's our lives. Like, there's no one else at this point who can, the guardrails are off. You can do whatever it is that you want to do. And so people always come to me and they ask me, how do I figure out what it is that I want to do? And so let's get into that. I think what's really challenging about that what to do question, it's not like you're standing there with a lack of options. What's hard is there's so many things that interest you and that you might like. And so how do you decide what it is to do next and where to go? And I like to think about it as you want to find things at the intersection of your skills and your passions. And let's start with the passions because people kind of feel like they don't really know what they're passionate about. They just feel so unfulfilled. Like, I promise you, software sales is not going to make you fulfilled. And so what do? You want to do things that energize you. There's that age old saying, find things that feel like play and not work. And I think that's right. And so focus on the things that do feel like play. You know what already feels like play to you because you're already playing and doing them. What podcasts do you listen to? What books do you read for fun? What articles do you read about? What topics do you try to educate your friends on or explain to your family? Like, you actually already have all these passions, whether or not you're paying attention to them. And so just lean into them because those are your passions. Like, for me, I love talking about life with people. That's what energizes me. I love trying to figure out this game. At the same time, I love thinking about investing. I love building companies. I love marketing. It's like super interesting to pay attention as to how the evolutions change and how to sell things to people. And so those are all the things that I'm passionate about. But then you have to come back and intersect that with your skills. You have to be good at things. And I think that if you can find some things that interest you so that you're excited to continue to do them and things that naturally come easy to you, you'll be an unstoppable force. For instance, when I was leaving private equity, I always got the same reviews in bonus discussions. They're like, you have amazing people skills and soft skills. Like, that's like what we'd ask of our partners who are many more years older than you, and you already have them. Like, that's super impressive. But it's private equity and you're an associate, so just go back and do financial models. And I realized, like, I didn't although I was fine at doing the financial models, that was never going to be my superpower. I know that I'm amazing with people and developing relationships. And one of the things that led me to where I'm at now is I wanted to go meet more people at scale. That leads you into venture capital where you're incentivized to talk with other investors and other founders. That's how you do deals. And so it's, again, leaning into what interests you and what you're good at. Then I think the other thing is, like, again, that still doesn't solve the like where to go because you have so many of these. And so you got to just commit to this feeling that you're going to be lost for a little bit. You have to give yourself the ability to wander. And I know you probably think that's scary, but you need to reframe that as that's the most exciting thing you can ever do. I mentioned this to one of the partners in my private equity firm when I was thinking of leaving, and he was like, go and do not look back. It's not only going to be super rewarding, it's the best, it'll be one of the best times in your life possible. He was like, I think I was 26 at the time, maybe 27. And he's like, think about it. This is your only time where you're not going to have a job because I left without something lined up. He's like, you are going to be the most free that you will ever be again in your life. And sure enough, he was right. Like that was the best, that was one of the funnest periods in my life. And eventually you're going to figure it out and you're going to have another job. You're going to be working on things. And then before you know it, you're going to have a family, wife, kids, mortgage. Like your life's just going to continue to go down the path, which is great. But like you will never be in that period again of just being lost and wandering. And so it will really help you a lot if you just kind of position it as that you're wandering. You know, someone referred to me when they were connecting me with people, they just said he's in this hunter gatherer phase of his life and he's just looking for information. And that's so true. And so that leads me to my next thing. You're on the path for information. That's it. You just want to learn about other elements of the world. And so just reach out to people, reach out to old bosses, reach out to connections, reach out to friends, reach out to random strangers that you come across on the internet or in the street or in the gym or whatever. Just ask if you can grab coffee with them and just to pick their brain. Just you're not really looking for anything except information. You want to kind of hear about what they're doing and just end those calls just being like, this was super helpful, right? Is there anyone else that you think I should talk to after doing this? And that is, you'll really start to build this super interesting spider web of connections as the whole time you're chewing on these things and thinking about what interests you more and what interests you less. Because that's kind of the important part, is you want to just kind of continue to follow what's interesting to you and what's giving you energy. An important thing in all of this is you're still not really gonna, there's no answer probably that's gonna truly appear with this like flashing light, like this is the answer, this is the answer. And I was talking about this with my dad and he gave me a really good piece of advice. He said, I wish you wouldn't be so attached to finding the answer as to what you want to do next. And that kind of confused me because, of course, I want the answer as to what to do next. So I asked him to elaborate, and he said that you're not going to really find the answer. It's unclear if there are ever answers in life. Like you only figure out what the answers are after the fact. And what's important is to just try things. And I said, okay, if that's the case, like, why don't you ever see people trying things? And of course, you know, ask yourself that. But it's because people are afraid to try. People are afraid if they fail or if they waste time. And they're also afraid of like leaving what's comfortable. But that was really important. And it was great because I got that advice at the same time as a different mentor gave me a piece of advice. And he said to run your life like it's a scientific experiment. So if you think back to the days in high school when we had science classes, and if you think about the the scientific hypothesis, where you come up with a hypothesis, you come up with an experiment to test it, and then you see the results, and then you analyze whether or not the results confirm, proved or disproved the hypothesis. And he said to run your life like that. Come up with the experiments that you want to run, the things to test, and then test them. And if they work, great. Keep going at that. Test a different variation of that and keep going. You might be on the way. If it doesn't work, great. It doesn't work. So then either retest it or figure out a new test to work. And it's funny because that same mentor, he goes, by the way, I'm 60 and I still don't know what I want to do. So just kind of get used to this like feeling that you're never going to know what to do. And I think he's actually right because life changes a lot. So now once you start to do all these, you're going to have a better idea of the things that you might like. And I know now where you're going to get, which is all these things excite me. But what about money? How do I live? And money is very important. And I guess it's a reason that a lot of us make probably very poor short-term decisions. And look, I love money as much as the next person. I want to be as successful as much as the next person. And the way I thought about it is you kind of really have to isolate the impact of money. And there's two reasons. I think all the people that we admire for having a bunch of like outsized success went through a period of time where they did not make a lot of money. I think you have to honestly do that. I think it's very hard to just expect everything to just take off in this linear manner and the money starts pouring in initially and then it just continues to go, right? Things take a long time to get off the ground and it takes a lot of failures to get through it first. What's interesting is I was talking to one of my mentors back in private equity about this, and he said that while his career earnings just kind of stayed in a flat line, there wasn't really any exponential lift to it. And a lot of his friends that made less money to start, but they were working on their own things, they were taking more risks, ended up lapping him in the end because that period of time of making a lot of money came. I think as well, going back to the idea of like your intersections of your skills and passions, it's so important to do what you love. We obviously hear that. But the reason that it's so important is because you actually love it more than someone else. I know you've gotten burnt out from work and you've stopped trying as hard as you can at times. Think about the people that are successful. They literally just love it so much. There's a reason that Tom Brady and Michael Jordan and LeBron are better than people and the GOATs. It's because they loved it so much that they were willing to put in all the extra hours. Like, look at Drake. Drake puts out more songs than anyone else, and obviously he's been more successful. It's just obvious. Kobe Bryant was in the gym 24/7. I don't know if that's like the right way to live your life, but it'll lead you to success. So the point being is I like to isolate the impact of success from this. If you can get that right, your skills and your passions, I can basically guarantee you that you will be successful. You are smart, you are capable, you have all the resources in the world, you're hardworking, you're determined, you've got the work ethic. Success will come. You will be successful. Like, ask yourself, do you think you'll be successful? 100%, right? Really, the only answer is by how much or like how successful are you? And that's fine because you'll get there. And so, what I like to do is ask myself, since I can guarantee myself of success, which you can as well, how would you have wanted to become successful? Like, what things would you have wanted to do to make that success? How do you literally want to spend your day? Do you want to be running $1 billion company? Do you want to be this big investor? Do you want to be this under the radar investor? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you want to invest in public equities? Do you want to invest in venture capital? Do you want to invest in crypto? Do you want to build your own products? Do you want to be the head of some division? There's all these questions in the world, and it gets back to like, what do you want to do on a daily basis? Like, how do you want your day-to-day life to look like? And then try to create that as best you can. And a piece of advice that I got from a different mentor, by the way, it really pays to have great mentors because all of them gave me great advice that completely changed the way I was thinking of these things. And he said that everyone has the capacity to design their life exactly as they want. The question is whether or not you have the courage to do so. You can make your life look however it is that you want if you have the courage to do it. And if you don't, you will be working in some role that maybe you like or don't like for someone else who had the courage to do that. You're a pawn in their dream. And so just figure out how it is that you want to spend your time and then do those things. And so I'm going to leave you with something. It's a good lesson for next time. Because even before you get into this, you have to take a step back and you have to ask yourself, what game are you even playing? And do you want to win that game? Because a quote that kind of changed my life, especially when I was in the world of finance, was if you win the rat race, you're still a rat. Pretty good, right? Think about it. And so you got to figure out if you want to play those games or not. And if you don't, you then have to figure out how you can play a game that you want to play. And I kind of realized that, although we idolize the Elon Musk, the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Jamie Dimon, who's Morgan Stanley's CEO, like presidents, like I'm very thankful for all those people, right? They've made the world a lot better place. But like, do you want to have their lives? Like, if you do, more power to you. But it was something I really had to like come to terms with for myself is I don't know if I want their lives. Like, think about them at a dinner table. Like, are they even there? And if they're there, like, how present could they be? Do you think they could ever take a 10-day surf trip in Indonesia with their friends where they're not available by phone access? Like, the entire economy is dependent on these people. And so think about the lives that then you lead from that. And so, although I hope this was helpful, I think it leaves us in a good spot, which is a lesson for next time, which is before even doing any of this or while you're doing all this, probably better. While you're doing this, you have to get really clear on yourself. You have to get to know yourself and what it is that you want. Because you probably don't even know what you want. Maybe you're like me in 25, 26 years old when I was going through this period. You don't even know what you're thinking about and what you want, because so many things have just been implanted on your mind. And so you almost have to go through this entirely new self-discovery process to learn about yourself. And you have to get to know yourself. That's the only way that you can create alignment with what you want, how you want your life to look, and how you want to spend those hours in your life. So that'll be a lesson for next time. Hope this was helpful.